Hello, I'm Evan Nolan, the president and co-founder of the United States Athletics Hall of Fame, and the returning nominee for the class of 2024. Born in a lumber camp in Forksville, Pennsylvania in June of 1903, Harold Edward Grange, much better known to all of us as Red Grange, was one of the driving engines that legitimized the NFL as a true force in American sports. Now, Red, so nicknamed because of the color of his hair, was one of 4 children born to the lumber camp foreman Lyle and his homemaker wife Sadie. Unfortunately, Sadie would die when Red was just 5 years old, and the family would move in with relatives in Wheaton, Pennsylvania, living there for a while until they were able to buy their own house. Lyle would actually end up becoming the chief of police in Wheaton eventually. Now, Grange would attend Wheaton High, where he would get 16 varsity letters in the 4 years he was there, picking up 4 in basketball, baseball, track, and of course, football. While clearly a great all-around athlete, it was football where he truly made his mark. In his 4 years at Wheaton High, he would score 532 points, including 75 touchdowns during that time. After graduation, he'd attend the University of Illinois, where he was just a revelation. In the words of journalist Damon Runyon, the man Red Grange of Illinois is 3 or 4 men rolled into one for football purposes. He's Jack Dempsey, Babe Ruth, Al Jolson, Pavel Norney, and Man of War. Put all of them together, they spell Grange. And one that seems like a lot of hyperbole, it's not really that far off. In his first game of his college career against Nebraska, he ran for 3 touchdowns. In 7 games that 1923 season, he ran for 723 yards and 12 touchdowns, while Illinois went undefeated at 8-0 and split the national championship with fellow conference mates Michigan. Perhaps his most famous game came the next season, 1924, against those same Michigan Wolverines in the opening of Memorial Stadium. Grange would take the opening kickoff back 95 yards for a touchdown. Then he'd have TD runs of 67, 56, 44, and 11 yards. He'd throw a 20-yard touchdown and have 2 interceptions in one game. Chicago sports writer Warren Brown would dub him after the game the Galloping Ghost, which is not only one of the coolest nicknames of all time, it stuck with him the rest of his career. Grange, by the way, would win the Big Ten MVP that season. Now, he'd leave Illinois a 3-time All-American before signing a contract with George Halas and Chicago Bears immediately after graduation. This was met with widespread derision because the Pro League was thought of as a joke and far inferior product to college football at that time. As part of his contract, he did a 17-game barnstorming tour where the Bears would take half the money and Grange and his agent would spend the other half. As a matter of fact, during the regular season, he got half the Bears' gate receipts, making over $100,000 when the average player was making about $100 a game. His last name, Grange, actually became a derisive term for exploiting something. And writers often say that the sport of football needed to de-Grange the game and get the money out. Now, after that season, Grange actually attempted to buy part of the Bears, but the Halas family rebuffed him. So, he formed his own team, the New York Yankees, which played out at Yankee Stadium. But Tim Mara, who owned the Giants at the time, said that they couldn't join the NFL because that was within their territorial rights. So what did Grange do? He formed his own league, the American Football League, which would have 9 teams for that 1926 season. The NFL would actually have 22 teams the same season. There just weren't enough money or players to go around. The NFL would see 11 of those 22 teams fold after the season, and the AFL would just lose teams every single week. The Yankees would actually go 10-5, finishing second behind the champion Philadelphia Quakers, and the AFL would fold after 1 season. Now, the Yankees would join the NFL in 1927, but Grange would be injured in a 12-0 loss to the Chicago Bears, ripping a tendon in his knee. As Grange said after the injury, he was just another back and wasn't himself really anymore. Now, he'd return to the Bears after the Yankees folded for the 1929 season and win championships there in 1932 and 1933. But while he was serviceable, he's never really the same player he'd been before the injury. Still, he became a 2-time first-team All-Pro and a member of the 1920s All-Decade team for the NFL. And he'd have his number retired by the Bears. He's a charter member of both the NCAA and Pro Football Halls of Fame. And this is, well, his second chance at ours. This is 100 years after his greatest season, 1924. Perhaps 2024 will be his year to join the United States Athletics Hall of Fame. You can vote for Red Grange or any of our other nominees to the United States Athletics Hall of Fame at www.theusahof.com. So that's the United States Athletics Hall of Fame.com. Voting continues between now and we close our polls December 1st. So vote as often as you like, as long as only once a day. I'll be back with another nominee soon, but until then, take care.